Hello, it's Corrina, and thank you so much for joining me today for a gentle yoga for back pain class. So this is a very beginner-friendly class, but we are going to be touching on some of those tight areas that might be contributing to back pain. We're going to begin today in a child's pose. So I want you to bring your feet underneath your hips and think about, as much as is possible, kind of sitting down onto the heels a little bit. We're going to extend the arms up, finding this nice length through the spine, and then fold over, hinging at the hips, bringing your hands down in front of you. From here, notice the relationship between your heels and your seat. So maybe you notice that you're not quite able to bring your seat all the way down to the heels, and that's okay, but go ahead and adjust as you need to. So if you need to bring the knees a little bit farther apart so that you can sit down into the hips, this is going to bring a lot of compression into the hip flexors, so it can be a little intense. And if you need to stay kind of lifted here a little bit so that you have the seat sitting on the heels, that's okay. So we're kind of bringing a little bit of compression in the hips, and then as is comfortable, start walking your hands forward, lengthening the spine. And if it feels okay, you can even bring your head down to the mat. And if it feels okay, you can bring your forehead down to the mat, or just let your neck be kind of relaxed and comfortable here. Breathe into any sensations you might be feeling, maybe in the hips or the back. And then from here, we're going to start walking our hands over to the left side of our mat. Folding again. And starting to feel this stretch through the right side of the body. So breathe for a moment. Lengthen the spine. And then maybe walk your hands a little bit farther to the left. So now keeping that engagement through both sitting bones, touching onto the heels, so that we get this really nice long stretch through the right side of the body. You can keep the hand planted on the floor, or you can bring the hand up onto the little edge of the hand here and just kind of feel how that engages different parts of the side body. Breathe into this deep side stretch. And on your next inhalation, we'll start to walk the hands back over. So use your hands to lift the body up. Start walking back through center. Let's extend long here before we move to the other side. On your next inhalation, stretch the spine long, and then use your hands to walk your body over to the right. So now we should be feeling this nice stretch through the left side body, and thinking about keeping the seat and the heels engaged as much as possible. From here, sinking, breathing, feeling that deep stretch through the left side of the body. And I like taking this little kind of movement through the hand just to keep this stretch a little bit more active. And then on your next inhale, push into your hands, use them to bring you back through center. One nice big long stretch. And then use your hands to help push your upper body back up. Great. From here, we'll move into a little bit of cat and cow. So come into your tabletop position. So the shoulder is in this nice alignment through the arm. We have this great stacking of the hips over the knees, the shoulders over the wrists. And then go ahead and start to drop your belly down to the floor. So feeling this little arch through the low spine, looking forward, taking this little cow pose. Inhale here, and then as you exhale, think about tucking your tailbone, sending your low belly up to the sky, your chest and shoulders up into your cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly again, coming back to your cow, gazing up. And exhale, cat. Arching the spine. One more time, inhale, dropping the belly, cow pose. And then exhale, pushing the ground away, cat. From here, go ahead and tuck your toes, and we'll start to bring our weight back towards our heels. So wherever is comfortable for you, if this is plenty of stretch through your feet, just kind of move through this little kind of moving stretch. And if you'd like to really sink into this, you can push your body up so that now you're actually sitting on your toes here. Now this is quite intense, but if it feels okay for you, or if you've done this little pose before, go ahead and join me here. And if it's too intense, you can just keep kind of moving through those little presses on the toes. Your hands to heart center for a moment, focusing on your breath. And from here, we're going to come back into that tabletop position again. So untuck the toes. You can kind of straighten them out, kind of tap them down on the mat a little bit. And then we're going to push into our palms and just slightly lift our knees up off the mat. So feel your core engage here. Go ahead and tuck the toes and prepare to engage the core and lift the knees to hover. Here we go. Lifting, hovering, and starting to feel this engagement. The arms working, kind of shaking, the core holding you up. And then go ahead, bring them back down, let the toes lay flat on the mat. And if you would like to sit back on your feet as they're just flat here for a moment. So now we're going to move through a little plank and Malasana or yogi squat to kind of bring some movement into the hips, kind of unlock some of those tense areas that can contribute to our back pain. So from here, we'll come back into our tabletop position, bringing the wrists under the shoulders. And then from here, go ahead and start stepping the feet back, and we're gonna come into our plank position. Feeling nice, unlifted here. And then start to bring your left leg up toward your left hand, and then your right leg up toward your right hand. So from here, we're gonna sit down into our yogi squat. And this is a very intense position. So if sitting right into it isn't comfortable, then you can keep your hands on the floor and just kind of move through these little articulations of the hip joint. So that actually feels really good. We'll just stay here with you doing this. So we're just kind of using our hands, walk from side to side, bringing some movement into the hip flexor and hip joint. One more time this way. And now let's go ahead and step back into our plank. So planting your hands really nice and firmly here, kind of getting ready to let your core lift you up. We'll step back with the left foot and then back with the right foot. spending a moment in our plank position here, and then go ahead and drop the knees, and we'll sit back into our little toe stretch. Again, totally fine to kind of stay in that kind of first moving toe stretch position that I showed you, or if you want to really feel the toe stretching, just join me here. So now we'll move from plank to Malasana again, but this time stepping forward with the right leg first. So coming back to our tabletop position here, you can kind of pat the toes out for a second. If you've been sitting on them, can be a little bit intense. And then from here, we'll tuck the toes, come up into our plank position. So feeling strong in our plank pose, let's go ahead and bring the right foot towards the right hand. And then if you need to kind of stand up a little bit, kind of use your arms to press the other leg forward, you can. And then we're gonna just move through our little kind of Malasana floss, maybe you could call it. So just kind of using the support of your arms in front of you as you move through, just kind of working a little bit of this ankle mobility here. Actually takes a lot of ankle mobility to do the yogi squat, and it's also really good for our hips here as well. So just once or twice more. And then from here, if it feels okay for you to sit in your yoga squat, we'll start to kind of find some stillness here. And if you want to widen the feet out a little bit, that can make this a little bit easier to sit in. You may also find that your feet aren't flat on the floor yet. You're kind of balanced on the toes, and that's perfectly fine. So wherever you are, either continuing just moving through your Malasana or finding some stillness here with me. Thinking about this deep stretch we're feeling through the hips. And then from here, just sit on to your bum. So it can be a little intense, that little Malasana movement. So now we'll just kind of do a little bit of stretching seated. So go ahead and find your Dandasana or staff pose. So here we have our legs extended in front of us and sitting up nice and tall. After that intense stretch through the inner thighs and groin, it should feel nice just to be kind of still and seated here with legs extended. If this is feeling really intense for you, or if you find that you can't sit up straight here, take a little bend in the knees so that you're able to be lifted and tall through the spine. If you are able to have your legs extended and still sit up straight, you can get more of a hamstring stretch by flexing your feet. So thinking about bringing the toes toward the knee and kind of pushing outward through the heel. So wherever you are, maybe with the knees bent here, feeling really nice and lifted, just think of growing tall through the spine. And it's certainly easier for me to do this with my legs a little bit bent, so you're welcome to stay right here with bent knees. Lifting up nice and tall. And then as you're ready, you can start to just play with straightening the legs, breathing into any sensations that you might feel, the hamstring or the hip. And so now bringing both legs flat. If you want to bring your hands to your side to help assist in lifting the spine here, you can do that. Breathing. And then we're gonna bring the legs back behind us. We're gonna come one more time into our tabletop position. So, knees are below the hips, wrists are below the shoulders. From here, we'll get ready to come into that plank pose again. And this time we'll bring the left leg up toward the left hand. So preparing here, tucking the toes, and then lifting into your plank position for a moment. Go ahead and lift that left leg up toward your left hand. And we'll actually kind of scoot it inward and then drop your right knee back towards the floor. You can go ahead and let that foot lay flat if it feels okay. So from here, you can use your hand if you need to move your foot or just kind of scooch it around. What we're looking for is that our knee isn't coming too far over the ankle. We want to have a nice bit of compression through the hip flexor. And I want you to focus in on the stretch you're feeling in the right hip flexor. So there's a lot going on here. Intense compression through the left and a deep stretch through the right. So you can keep your hands planted on the floor here, or if it feels okay, engage your core and use it to lift the upper body up. Nice big stretch in the right hip flexor. You can intensify by lifting up that right arm. Maybe lifting the left arm if you don't need that support on the left leg. Then from here, bring your arms back down to the floor, framing your front foot. You can tuck your back toes here, and we're gonna send our hips back toward the back foot, straightening the front leg. So here we're getting this nice deep stretch through the hamstring. If you want to intensify it, flex that front foot. Breathe into that sensation you may be feeling on the back of this leg. If it's too much, just leave the foot relaxed. And as you think about bringing the upper body toward your thigh, you'll feel that intensity. Great, breathe into that sensation, and then go ahead and plant the left foot in front of you, lay the back toes down flat, and we'll come to that Anjaneyasana again. Sometimes I have to adjust a little bit, get the spaces needed. Totally fine to stay here, using your hand or even your fist on the floor to support your body. If you want to come up, bringing your body to sit into this deep sensation on both hip flexors. One compressed, one stretching. Breathe. And then bringing the hands back down to the ground again, tuck the back toe and lift up. From here, planting the right hand, twist toward your bent leg. Engaging the inner thighs and glutes to keep your body lifted up. You can gaze up at your left hand or keep your gaze natural, whatever feels best for you. And then go ahead, bring the hands back down, and we'll just bring our left foot back. Let's sit back in our child's pose for a moment. I'm going to take this variation with my knees in line, folding the body over the thighs, letting your breath start to slow down, and preparing to take the other side. Go ahead and use your hands, pushing into the floor, lifting your body back up. We'll come into our tabletop position. And then tuck the toes, pushing yourself up into plank pose for a moment. And then bring the right foot up. So again, kind of moving it over. You can even pick the foot up and move it if that is easier for you. Letting the back toe come flat. And just feeling this nice deep stretch through the left hip flexor. If you're ready to take it a step further, we'll lift the body up, sitting even deeper into this hip flexor now. So have compression in one hip and deep stretch in the other. You can lift up the arms to add a little bit more here. And then we'll take them down on either side of the foot, tucking the back toes and straightening the front leg. Sending the hips towards the heels. And then either flexing this foot to deepen the stretch, or maybe just letting it kind of relax here as you think about bringing your chest a little closer to the knee. Breathe. If you feel lots of intensity in the wrists, you can oftentimes modify by taking a little fist to the floor. Breathing, and then setting this foot down, bringing the body forward again, untuck the back toes, and we'll sit in our Anjaneyasana again. Breathing, intensifying, and then bringing the hands down. We'll take that little pyramid stretch one more time. So back toes are tucked, hips move towards the back of the mat, and front leg can be flexed or pointed, just depending on what feels best for you. You can see mine shaking when I flex it. Okay, great. So one more time, bringing the hands forward, the upper body forward. This time we'll lift up on the back foot, planting the left hand and twisting toward the right. Keeping this nice lift through the hips. Really deep stretch and twist. And then bring that arm back down, and we'll send our right foot back. This time we'll take child's pose with our feet together and the knees spread out wide. So preparing here, inhale, arms lift, spine is tall, and then hinge at the hips, fold forward, use your hands to walk the body out. You can also use your hands to push your hips down toward your heels. So we kind of have this dual action of pulling the hips towards the heels, but also lengthening the spine forward. If it feels okay to rest your head down on the floor, you can go ahead and do that now. Noticing any sensations that you're feeling through the hips, through the back. Breathing. And then from here, we're going to come onto our backs. So you can push your body up, and then coming to sit on one side, you can use your arms to just slowly transition. So I like to kind of come into this I'm supported on my elbows, position first. And then using the arms to slowly roll the back on down and thinking about really sealing the back with the mat. So once you've reclined onto your back, check in again with your low back. Notice if there's a big arch underneath the low back here, and if there is, just gently tuck the tailbone so that you feel your low back is kind of kissing the mat. Right, so we're going to take that little lumbar curve out. Then from here you can heel toe, kind of walking your feet to the edges of the mat. And we're going to let our knees knock in on one another. And at this point, if you want to wiggle the feet out a little bit more, you can, or move them back in. I like to have my heels a little farther out and toes pointing in. So I'm really kind of feeling that internal rotation all throughout the leg. It should feel really nice, this internal rotation, after all of those intense Malasana and low lunge movements we did today. And I'm going to take my Savasana in this position, but if you think it would feel nice to extend your legs long and just lay flat, then I invite you to do that as well. So in whatever position you choose for your Savasana today, take a moment to think about bringing a little bit more openness through the chest. So for me, it is kind of just gently lifting up and kind of tucking the shoulder blades in a little bit. So now you kind of feel the corners of the shoulders peel open, right? So rather than being in, kind of want the shoulders to open up a little bit. Lie your hands down on the floor, palms facing up. Breathe into the sensation of your entire body supported by the mat. Be really thankful to yourself for making the time today to practice a little yoga. And be thankful for your body, for all that it does for you. Even if sometimes you're feeling discomfort or pain in the body, don't let that turn your body into an adversary. Instead, have love and compassion for yourself. And especially when you're feeling pain or discomfort, send that compassion and appreciation to your body, knowing that pain is a signal to us. It's trying to send us a message. So we shouldn't just say, oh, I have a bad back, or oh, I have a bad this. Instead, send love and compassion to your body. And if you have the time here to pause the video and spend a few minutes in a silent Savasana, and whenever you're ready, we will start to bring the feet back toward one another. And then lift your arm up, bringing your body onto the side. So we'll kind of use our arm like a little pillow here. Coming into this little fetal position. So really just a kind of nice way to ease your body out of this practice. So from here, using this hand in front of you, go ahead and push into the floor, lifting your body back up and coming in and coming into a comfortable seat. From here, bring your palms to touch in front of your heart. And then go ahead and take a nice deep breath, sitting up nice and tall. And then begin to tuck the chin, bowing your head toward your hands. The highest and brightest in me honors and bows to the highest and brightest in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today for this practice. I really hope that it's helped you to feel better in your back or wherever you might be experiencing pain. I always love to hear your comments, questions, or topic requests for my future videos. So I hope that you will chime in down in the comment section below. I always love hearing from you. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in my very next video. Bye.
Welcome to Yoga Plus. Courses available from pupil to yogi. Sort by yoga, fitness, and instructors. Create your own routines. Access the pose library. Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth, available on Google Play and the App Store.
Join us for 14 and 30-day programs, hour-long classes, and much more on our yoga app, Yoga Plus by Psyche Truth. It's free to download and features a variety of wellness content, including yoga, fitness, Pilates, guided meditations, and interviews with dozens of wellness experts.